Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tamara and I am a new flower farmer here in southern Wisconsin. We are zone 5A. We've got another scorcher on our hands, 105, 107 today. Pretty typical for some of our summers, but man, it is hot. Today, as promised, I wanted to share a contraption that my husband and I decided to invest in earlier this year, probably January or February, and it is a hoop bender. So this particular hoop bender is a 4-foot hoop bender. That means that when the EMT conduit is bent, the bottom two poles are going to be 4 feet across. We decided on this as part of our support system for our flowers down in the garden. A lot of the varieties that we're growing down in the garden, cosmos, zinnias, they do best when they are netted. We could have used rebar or we could have used T-posts, but we have heard that you either have to put tennis balls on them so you don't like poke your eyes out because they're harder to see, and this just looks really, really pretty. So we were so excited to invest in this. The other things that we needed to purchase were fiberglass rods, and then we also needed to purchase EMT conduit. These are 1/2 inch, 10-foot EMT conduit. They were probably around $7 a piece, so quite an investment, but only invested in about, I would say 50 pieces of piping. Next year we'll probably do another 50, but we only needed about 11 per bed, and we only needed it for about 4 beds. We're just kind of going to be growing our stock slowly. So it does take some getting used to. Our first couple pieces we bent too early on the pipe, and so it caused it to make more of a horseshoe shape instead of having straight sides and then the arc on top. So we found that if you put it 8 to 12 inches in the little piece of strapping and you start bending there, you do 2 full bends and then another 1/2 bend, and that was getting us exactly what we needed. Now this is not a 2-person job, but in order to keep the pipe from actually twisting on itself while you're bending and kind of making a weird, almost like a slinky shape, if that makes sense, I was just holding it and making sure it was straight while John was bending it. And when we put it in the garden, it actually looked super, super awesome. I know some people do not stake or net or corral their flowers. We have decided to go that route just in case. We don't have a whole lot of storms. We do live in a place that gets tornadoes, but that is less of a concern, and more concerning to us is just the wind. The storms that came in last year were straight wind. They somehow went over the tree line and came straight through our yard and actually knocked over 2 big trees. Now those trees had carpenter ant damage, and so they were very weak at the base, but still we were getting gusts of wind up to 60, 70 miles per hour. So we do want to just protect those stems, protect our flowers, because all it takes is one really bad wind to destroy your crop and your ability to grow super straight stems. We really do want to try to be extremely professional. Of course, there's going to be those occasions where you're going to have to use what you get, but we're going to try to avoid that at all costs and just do a lot of corralling, a lot of staking, and a lot of netting of our flowers. This piece can be mounted on anything that is heavy and stable. So we have this giant piece of wood from the base of one of the trees that fell. We decided to use that as our table. The only thing is that it's pretty short. My husband's really tall, and so we really had to bend over in order to make it work. But for now, that's what worked for us. I know people have mounted it to the back of trucks and to heavy tables, and those all will probably work fine and probably something that we would look towards in the future. But for now, this piece of wood did the job. We didn't have that many to bend, so it worked out for us. We did try 2 different spacings. Our beds are 70 feet long. We do have the 4-foot width where the flowers are growing, and then we have a foot on each side because we did use 6-foot wide landscaping fabric. So the first spacing was 1 every 7 feet, and we were able to do that and get 11 perfectly spaced hoops. The second set we tried was every 10 feet, and so we got 8 perfectly separated hoops because you have to count the ones on the end. One was 11, one was 8. 11 definitely was better for the netting. We were finding that the 10-foot spacing, it didn't keep the tension in the netting, and so we're gonna have to come through and zip tie a lot. So my recommendation would be every 7 to 8 feet. There was that perfect math, seeing that our beds were 70 feet long. So the garden looks absolutely stunning. I'm really excited to use this hoop system as we move forward. Right now, it just elevates the garden. It looks stunning, it looks beautiful, but also has multiple purposes. Not only is it a lot safer than using rebar, you can also use them as like a little caterpillar tunnel. So they double in that purpose as well. So we can cover them with plastic, we can cover them with agribon, we can cover them with shade cloth, depending on the crop underneath. And so they're really versatile. They're not heavy, they're lightweight, they're easy to use, and once everything is bent up, they're going to be easy to store. They'll just kind of hook onto something, and yeah, I think they'll last for a really long time. They're galvanized, so they shouldn't rust, and I really like the look, and I really hope that they work in terms of keeping all of our stems nice and straight. So anyways, that is what I wanted to share with you. It was $91 or $94 from Johnny's. I think we're going to get so much use out of it. Like I said, there is a 3-foot as well, and then I think there's larger ones, maybe like 10-foot or something like that, but for our purposes here, especially on a smaller scale right now, 1/8 of an acre, it works perfectly. I would totally recommend it if you're looking for something that's beautiful, that has multi-purpose, and that's safe and easy to use. Pretty inexpensive, pretty easy to store. It is great. I can't say enough about it. So anyways, that is it for today. Thanks for hanging out and listening to my spiel on the hoop bender. I think it's a really awesome product. So we'll see you on the next one. Bye.